You did the hard part. You found your number, you invested for decades, and now you're finally ready to retire. But that brings the single scariest question in all of personal finance. What if the money runs out? What if you live to 95 and the account hits zero at 88? Today, we're going to build the withdrawal plan that makes running out of money almost impossible. Here's the thing almost nobody says out loud. For most retirees, the deepest fear isn't death. It's outliving their savings. It's becoming a burden, or watching the balance shrink faster than the years do. That fear is completely rational. And the good news is, it's also completely manageable once you know the rules. You have to plan for a long life because you'll probably have one. Roughly 1 in 3 of today's 65-year-olds will live past 90. 1 in 7 will pass 95. So a retirement that only funds you to 85 isn't a plan. It's a gamble, and the house is time itself. But don't panic. You do not need to hoard every penny and eat rice for 30 years. A handful of simple, proven rules can take the risk of running out from terrifying, all the way down to almost negligible. Let's walk through them one by one. You already know the starting point, the 4% rule. Withdraw about 4% of your savings in year 1, adjust for inflation after, and history says it lasts 30 years or more. It's a fantastic baseline, but treating it as a rigid, unbreakable law is exactly where people get into trouble, because real markets and real life are far bumpier than a spreadsheet. The 4% rule assumes you take the same inflation-adjusted amount every single year, no matter what the market does. But no smart retiree actually behaves that way. When the market booms, you can afford a little more. When it crashes, you tighten the belt for a year. That simple willingness to flex is your first and most powerful tool. This is called using guardrails. You set an upper and a lower limit around your spending. In strong years, you let yourself enjoy a bit more. In a down year, you trim your withdrawal by around 10%. Maybe skip the big trip. Just being willing to flex in the bad years can safely raise your starting withdrawal rate and dramatically cut the odds of ever running out. But there's one specific danger that wrecks more retirements than any other, and it has a name: sequence of returns risk. It is not about your average return over 30 years. It's about the order those returns arrive in. A big crash in your first few years of retirement while you're selling investments to pay the bills can do permanent damage that the exact same crash 20 years later never would. So here is defense number 1, and it's the most important. Keep 1 to 3 years of living expenses in plain cash or short-term bonds. When the market crashes, you spend from that bucket instead of selling your stocks at the bottom. You give your investments time to recover, and you never lock in a loss just to buy groceries. That single move neutralizes most of the sequence risk. Defense number 2 sounds backwards. Even in retirement, keep a meaningful chunk in stocks. It feels safer to go all bonds, but a retirement can last 30 years, and over 30 years, inflation is a slow-motion disaster. If your money isn't still growing, its buying power quietly bleeds out year after year until the life it can buy is a shadow of what you planned. Look at the difference. Go all bonds and you feel safe, but inflation slowly erodes what your money can actually buy. Keep a balanced mix, maybe 50 to 60% stocks, and your portfolio keeps growing faster than prices rise. The so-called safe, all-bonds retiree is very often the one who actually runs short. Growth here isn't greed, it's protection. Defense number 3 is the most underrated of all. Social Security is the best longevity insurance money can't buy. For every year you delay claiming past 62, up to age 70, your check grows about 8%, guaranteed, for life, and adjusted for inflation. If you're healthy and can afford to wait, delaying to 70 gives you a much bigger check that can never run out, no matter how long you live. Defense number 4 saves you a small fortune in taxes. Withdraw from your accounts in the right order. Generally, spend your taxable brokerage account first, then your tax-deferred 401k and traditional IRA, and save your Roth for last, so it can keep growing tax-free as long as possible. Getting this order right can add years to how long your money lasts, purely by keeping more of it out of the taxman's hands. But watch out for one trap. Starting at age 73, the government forces you to withdraw a minimum amount from your traditional 401k and IRA every year, whether you need the money or not. These are called required minimum distributions. If you've saved a lot, they can trigger a nasty tax bill and even push up your Medicare premiums. You have to plan for them, not get ambushed by them, which points to a quiet opportunity. In your early retirement years, after you stop working but before Social Security, and those forced withdrawals kick in, your income and your tax rate can be unusually low. That window is the perfect time to convert some traditional money into a Roth, paying a little tax now at a low rate to avoid a much bigger bill later. Done well, it's one of the most powerful tax moves in all of retirement. And if you retire before 65, brace yourself for the healthcare gap. Medicare doesn't start until 65, so until then, you're on the hook for your own health insurance, which can easily cost a couple over $1,000 a month. It is one of the most underestimated expenses in early retirement, so build it into your plan before you ever hand in your notice. Through all of this, never forget that inflation never retires. The comfortable budget you set at 65 will need to be noticeably bigger at 85 just to buy the exact same life. This is precisely why you keep growing your money and why you don't go all bonds. Your plan has to assume your costs will keep climbing, because they absolutely will. So here's the whole plan on one card. Keep a cash bucket so you never sell in a crash. Use spending guardrails so you flex in the bad years. Keep growing with a balanced portfolio. Delay Social Security if you possibly can. And withdraw in a tax-smart order. Stack those defenses together, and the risk of actually running out of money drops to almost nothing. If you take just one idea from this entire video, make it this. Flexibility beats a rigid number. The retiree who's willing to adjust, to spend a little less in a bad year and a little more in a great one, is far, far safer than the one clinging to a fixed formula. A living, breathing plan will always beat a perfect number frozen on a spreadsheet. You spent decades letting your money grow. This final phase is about spending it wisely, so it lasts as long as you do, and maybe even leaves something behind for the people you love. Done right, you don't just avoid running out. You get to actually enjoy what you built, without that constant, quiet fear in the back of your mind. Cash bucket. Spending guardrails. Keep growing. Delay Social Security. Withdraw in the right order and plan ahead for taxes and healthcare. That is the entire withdrawal playbook. None of it is complicated, and all of it is squarely within your control. Retirement isn't the finish line for your money. It's the most important stretch of the whole race. Get the withdrawal plan right, and the number you worked so hard to build will carry you all the way to the end. Subscribe to follow the full retirement series, and I'll see you in the next one.